Okay, so this is just a quick video I'm making to explain how quality of Figuarts seems to have dropped pretty dramatically in the years since I started collecting them. Some of you may be more familiar with Imperfect Cell, just released. And where do I start? Just starting with the finish alone. He feels very cheap. The finish, it doesn't have that matte finish that we're used to with Figuarts. It has a cheap, kind of plasticky feel. The weight on him is pretty decent. His joints work fairly well. Now, one of the biggest gripes I have with newer Figuarts is with shoulder articulation. And I've been collecting these for years, and this has only become a problem on newer releases, starting with Bardock. And for those of you who aren't aware, around the time they released Bardock, I believe that's also the time they started sourcing their products from Vietnam. Now, that's not to say that the Vietnamese factories are inferior or anything related to that. This could be happening for a number of reasons. I'm not sure why. But this just happened at the same time they decided to switch production to Vietnam. Whether those events are correlated or not, I have no clue. I'm just explaining that there was a shift in production to Vietnam, and this is when I started noticing some severe issues with shoulder articulation. Now, just listen to this. That should not be happening. That is not normal for a Figuarts. And it's not just this shoulder. And this is after, keep in mind, I put this under boiling hot water for about 2-3 minutes. And even then, it still had the squeak. And you might have noticed I actually put a little bit of oil. Even then, with sewing oil, it still sounds like... And in all honesty, it feels like it's going to break. And keep in mind, this is a $75, $80 figure. Needless to say, not happy at all. And this isn't a one-off issue, like I mentioned. This happened with Bardock, the bicep swivel. You could check forums. Multiple people complain about the bicep swivel being too tight. This was fairly tight too, but I fixed it with some hot water and oil. Zarbon and Dodoria, recent P Bandai exclusives, were some of the worst for me. Dodoria especially, one of his arms felt like they were just going to snap off. I actually ended up disassembling Dodoria. Took an insane amount of effort to take the arm out, and I actually sanded down the joints to make it safe to actually pose, because he felt like he was going to break. And let me tell you, this cell, I don't know if you could see that, but that joint does not look... That joint does not look substantial at all. It feels like it's gonna break. If I did not put the oil like I did, this joint looks and just feels downright pathetic. I don't like it at all. And I had a very bad issue with Zarbon where his shoulder actually snapped like a toothpick. And I actually had to find a replacement torso on eBay, and that cost like another 30 bucks. I was lucky enough to find a seller who had one, but these are $70, $80 figures, especially with P Bandai. That number goes up because we can't even get the shipping from sites like Big Bad anymore. Paying 10 bucks in shipping, for me at least, for a $70 figure usually brings the price up close to like $86, $86, $90. And for me to have to deal with issues like this, it's frankly ridiculous. Now, that's one issue, okay? So the joints, I don't like them. This should not be happening on an $80 figure, where you could have cheaper figures like McFarlane, even Marvel Legends out there for 20 bucks. Yeah, they have their fair share of problems, but I'll be honest, not a single one of them ever broke on me. what I'm noticing is something with these newer figures. I think that they're not making the joints the right way. These are terrible. I don't like them at all. For you to feel like you're gonna break a $70, $80 figure just by moving the arms, and let's be real, this is Cell. What does Cell do? He's gonna be doing Kamehamehas out the ass. And to not be able to do that confidently and just enjoy yourself while you're getting them in that pose, that's a bad feeling. And I'm at a point now where I feel like I don't know if Figuarts is really worth the money anymore. The finish just seems cheap. The recent Naruto release, that figure has great articulation, face sculpt is great, I'll give him that. But he feels as light as paper, and he does not have the feel of older figures. It does not feel like a premium like Figuarts product when you compare it to past releases. This is Trunks, definitely one of their older figures, and also one of my favorites. Just listen to this. Can you even hear anything? No, because they actually put effort into these. This is when Figuarts made a name for itself. Listen to that. Smooth as butter. I had absolutely no... Listen to that bicep swivel. Nothing. Absolutely flawless. Take a look. I could even move the shoulders up, down, no problem. Has even a butterfly joint. That's also to mention. Yeah, butterfly joint on Cell was pretty... Look at that. Really have to kind of dig in there to get it out. Shrugging the shoulders is kind of an issue for him too. Keep in mind, I boiled this and I had to put oil on it. Trunks I did not have to touch at all. There you go. That happened live. All right. Didn't break. Don't worry. And honestly, that's a good thing. For it to rather just pop apart than snap, I always prefer that. Okay, let's just leave them like that. So I hope Figuarts goes back to making figures like this. Keep in mind, this is just my opinion. I feel like quality has dropped, and it's not good. Like I said, for me, Bardock and on, I've had issues, specifically around the arms, shoulders, bicep swivels, big problems, and the plastic quality, just in my opinion, from just feeling these, they feel cheaper. This is a he's a fairly slender guy, and even then, he has very nice weight to him. And when you compare him to like Naruto feels like a hollow piece of crap. And it really does feel like a piece of crap when you hold Naruto in your hand and then one of these older figures. There's a huge difference. You have to hold them to actually tell. And it's not good. They need to really figure out something, because the tightness on the joints and the number of reviewers I've seen with problems with breakages and things like that, it's ugly. And these figures are not cheap. These aren't like toys for kids. Like, these will cost 70 to $100 a lot of times. Whether you buy them a few months after release, I'd say average price of these are around 70, $80. No one should be having to deal with this. It's not a good look for a premium line like this. It's making me just reconsider which ones I actually kind of invest into, whether or not... I used to just buy every single Dragon Ball figure that came out, but even this Cell, I was reluctant to even pull the trigger, but Cell's one of my favorite villains. I ended up getting him on eBay for around $70 before tax. So that's pretty much it. I just want to make this video, like, don't just blindly support a line. You'll see people say, oh, support Figuarts, support Figuarts. Why? They have to do good on us first. And don't just throw your money away. Okay, think about what you're buying. You know, do what you need to do. You know, at the end of the day, this is just a hobby. But just consider what you're paying and consider what you're getting.